Welcome to the Elementary Mathematics Curriculum Framework Overview e-course. The Curriculum Framework is an online management system we use to house our instructional documents. The Curriculum Framework is designed to be used by teachers according to the Fort Worth ISD Board Policy. The Curriculum Framework is designed to organize and define the learning outcome for each unit. Guide teachers with pacing to ensure all concepts are taught prior to the next school year, support teachers in developing lesson plans, and assist teachers in meeting the professional responsibilities of helping all children advance in their learning regardless of diverse student abilities by providing differentiated instruction. Accessing the Curriculum Framework, use a Google search engine and go to the Fort Worth ISD homepage at fwisd.org. Select the Educators tab along across the top. Then select the Curriculum Frameworks tab in the middle of the page. Use your Active Directory username and password to log in. Let's take a look at those screens. Educators tab. Select the Curriculum Frameworks. And here you would use your Active Directory. Please include any additional numbers that may be in your name, but do not include the fwisd.org. Once you log in, you should see this screen here where you'll click the Curriculum button to access the content. Here you'll need to type in the appropriate grade level, subject, course, corresponding unit, and then select the green Go button to continue. Kindergarten teachers will select kindergarten for the subject, and the course will automatically populate it to integrated curriculum. Then choose the corresponding unit or week and select the green Go button to continue. Once you select the green Go button to continue, you will land on the Curriculum Frameworks landing page. Here you'll see the title of the unit, the approximate dates and instructional days for the unit, a link to the resource we use, OrgoSlate, the unit overview, unit questions, unit SPAR review, and then the learning experience itself. Let's take a closer look at the learning experience. As you can see, this learning experience is approximately 2 days in length. Here in the math department, we use the Engage, Explore, Summarize models for the lesson flow. The Engage is usually an Orgo Stepping Stones Step 2, but sometimes could have an activity listed directly here on the Curriculum Frameworks. The Explore part of the lesson is where the majority of the lesson takes place. Here, clicking on the blue hyperlink is where you can get more information about the detail within the lesson. And additionally, we have some suggestions for summarizing or closing your lessons. Let's take a look at the learning experience detail. Each learning experience will outline the text for that learning experience, give you examples for vertical alignment, and teacher notes as well, along with the required resources. Then it moves into the interactive learning detail. So here in the interactive learning, we tell you, again, additional teacher notes specific to this lesson, where to start in Orgo, which module, which lesson, and the corresponding pages for those lessons. Some lessons will include formative assessments, activities or games, and ongoing practices when appropriate. Now let's take a look at the kindergarten landing page. Kindergarten, your curriculum is integrated, therefore you will see all contents on the landing page. Starting at the top, you'll have the instructional dates for this unit, the unit concept and unit questions students should be able to successfully answer at the end of the unit. Anything in blue is a hyperlink you can click on. Down at Math, in the Math section, you'll always have that 6 weeks look-fors, the mathematical objective pertaining to that unit, and then the hyper unit that will give you additional details for the unit itself and the interactive learning experiences. Anytime we make revisions, we try to put those in red on the date when it happened to assist teachers to know what has changed since the last time they logged in. So let's click the blue hyperlink to take a detailed look at the learning experience. Here in the learning experience, again, you'll have the instructional dates for that unit, TEKS that are accomplished within that unit, the vertical alignment, additional teacher notes, and resources. Looking at an interactive learning / lesson, again, you have the Title I TEKS, how many days, so this lesson expands over 2 days, day 2 of 2. Your number sense activity, your engage, your model, which is your whole group teach, your small group and reteach suggestions. Math centers are located at the end of the document. There are 5 math centers and 3 integrated curriculum centers, along with an evaluation piece. Let's take a look at the curriculum frameworks tabs and some additional information you have located in the tabs button. Here, if you click the blue tabs button, you'll get additional links. Let's look at the required resources page. Here on the required resource tab, you have access to the scope and sequence for the year, the grade level TEKS, the modules we'll use for OGO for this unit, the unit SPAR reviews, and a Spanish immersion unit SPAR reviews. The unit SPAR reviews were designed to review TEKS students have formerly been introduced to and are used at the teacher's discretion. We do not reference these unit SPAR reviews within the learning experience. Again, they're used at the teacher's discretion and how the teacher chooses to use them. Let's look closer at the scope and sequence. The scope and sequence begins with the process standards. All concepts are taught through the process standards. In STAR tested grades, the STAR questions may be written through one or more of the process standards, so it's very important for teachers to teach the content through the process standards. The scope and sequence outlines the year at a glance. As you can see, it tells you when the 6 weeks begins and ends. It has the unit title, which is just a description to reflect the level of content being taught. Then it has the learning experience. Units are broken into learning experience based on the concepts being covered in the unit. A unit may have more than 1 or 2 learning experiences. Then we move over to the interactive lessons. This contains a list of lessons in a learning experience. And note, one interactive learning / lesson does not equal to 1 instructional day. Next, we'll have the student expectations that are taught within that learning experience, the approximate date and days. Then the last 3 tabs are used for teachers to track the actual days they spent on a learning experience. Teachers are encouraged to keep up with this information by using the plus column, the additional days that they may have spent on a learning experience, or the extra days they gained from a learning experience because they did not use them under the minus column. This is important because, again, the scope and sequence outlines the year at a glance. The entire 177 days students are in school has been planned out and detailed on this document. So it's important that teachers track this information, as we do not account for school programs that may interrupt your instruction or field trips that may interrupt your instruction. So it is very important that you track this information, keeping in mind that all things must be taught to mastery and in depth before the end of the school year. Let's take a look at some of the additional tabs within the curriculum framework. The formative assessment tabs houses all formative assessments for the entire unit. This tab is important because it's the only place you can access the STAR connections by clicking on the blue hyperlink here. The STAR connections are STAR formatted questions students can use to review each learning experience. There are at least one STAR connection for every learning experience. Next, we're going to look at the summative tab. The summative tab houses the unit assessment for each unit, along with the blueprint and answer key. And if there's a unit product, you can also access it in the summative tab. not always applicable for each unit. Again, anytime revisions are made, we do post when we last made revisions to that document. Let's look at some additional tabs you have access to within the curriculum framework. Under instruction, if you click the vocabulary link, you'll find vocabulary and definitions specific to the unit. Here you'll find differentiations for the special populations you have access to. And under interventions, you click the tiered link, you'll find tiered interventions you can try specific to the unit to help students reach mastery. Next, let's look at some additional buttons you have access to within the curriculum framework. I'm going to take a closer look at these buttons here. You have access to the pacing guide for each unit, documents you would like to print, the pacing guide as a flipbook, and a feedback form. You can also email each curriculum writer directly to give feedback about the unit and its contents. We do suggest that you email us directly, as this feedback form here does not notify us when someone has inputted information in as feedback. Let's look at the pacing guide in detail. The pacing guide is available online for each unit. The pacing guide outlines the unit instructional days, the dates, the unit overview, the college and career readiness standards for each unit, the key pre-course skills students will need. The standard-based objective here identifies what students are learning and contains the mastery skill for this standard. The supporting objective column represents the TEKS or a summary of the TEKS that will be addressed as students work toward mastery of the objective. The TEKS column identifies the TEKS, the EPS, and the technology application TEKS that are aligned to each unit. The aligned supporting material identifies resources that will be used for this unit, such as big books for primary grades, manipulatives, and additional resources for the unit. The assessment column. The assessment column identifies some of the formative assessments and summative assessments you will use. You may notice that the summative assessment matches the unit objective. The student support strategy column gives examples of strategies for all learners, especially our English language learners. These examples and more are found in the full curriculum within the frameworks. The student engagement strategies give examples of appropriate student interactions that are aligned to the unit. These strategies are what an observer can expect to see when visiting a classroom. Let's review our curriculum framework instructional model. On the landing page, you'll have the unit overview, the unit objectives, the unit questions students should be able to successfully answer, learning experiences, which follow the engage, explore, summarize model. Within the learning experience, you'll have the interactive learning / lessons, examples of formative assessments and some required formative assessments, suggestions for reteach in small group, suggestions for activities and games, and ongoing practice when available. Remember, units may have more than one learning experience. Now click the blue Next button to continue.